squidding me!
Hello and welcome back to Race to Prestige Season 4 in Awesomenauts. Today's gonna be a little bit weird. We're not gonna have access to the Starstorm characters, and I'll tell you why. Okay, Vinny. Okay, cool. Wow, that's two Vinnies, right? Interesting. But the reason for that is that we are in the free Awesomenauts week, and so it's sort of messing up with my family sharing thing. It's saying like, oh, I actually have the game, so I don't actually have to share with my other account. And so, yeah, that's messing some things up, and I won't spend too many episodes with this setup, hopefully. I just need a couple to get me through the weekend. But today's topic, yes, sneaky devil, is going to be the advantages and disadvantages of Ronimo being a small company. Oh my gosh, I feel like the League 9 status has struck again. I've got my notes here, because that guy really shouldn't have been... upgrade. This is bizarre. Okay, there. He's just going for it. I really hope we're not pup stomping some clear noobs. I'm not even talking. I'm kind of distracted by this. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, the advantages and disadvantages of Ronimo being small. They are very approachable. That's the really cool thing, is that you're not like afraid to try and communicate with them, because you actually feel like you can get a response out of them. Unlike some companies where it's just like... where it's just like a big monolithic corporation, where like you try, like, unless they've set up like social media to specifically talk with people and communicate with their followers, you really don't feel like you can communicate with them. Like big companies like Bethesda and something, you feel like a drop in the bucket. But with Ronimo, you really feel like you're communicating with them. And yeah. And so it's really cool that they are like that, because you can actually like get to know them, and now I feel sorry for them. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. Buying upgrades, that's always good. But it adds that really nice personal touch that you know these people. You can understand them. They're actual people to you, and not faceless ideals behind like a name or something. And it's just really cool. The second thing I have on my list is that they're willing to try something new when convention tells them not to. Who does a 2D MOBA? Well, no one does. No one should do, or something. I don't know. But they decided to, because, you know, they thought it'd be cool, and so they went with it. Which is really cool. They're willing to innovate and try something new. It doesn't always work. They got a lot of flack for Penny's voice acting, because they sort of went for a hyper-stylized look that really not a lot of people liked. I liked, and a lot of other people liked. Specifically, Mike here liked it, and I talked to him about that. That. Oh my gosh. Oh man. That. But another more recent sort of failure of this was Scoop's voice, and I really feel like this is a little bit of a disappointment. Because we're used to Ronimo doing crazy, silly voices. Like, even this character was voiced by Total Biscuit, and he adds his nice, weird flair to it with a British space pirate being a gangster kind of a thing, which is crazy and loopy. But with Scoop, they kind of just went with a normal voice actor, and there's nothing too spectacular about him. This is just sad. At this point. 5 minutes. Can we not have a super short? Oh my gosh. I'm not even gonna fire. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. I think in these situations, I'm really just gonna say we're gonna do another match and continue the discussion on there, because 5-minute episodes, no one wants those. I don't want them, you guys don't want them. So, yeah. Let's see how far it gets us. 19. Almost to 20. Okay. Okay, let's start this off again. It wouldn't be Race to Prestige without some weird things, but luckily I am at... Hey, Dirtball. But luckily I am at League 8 now, so hopefully we'll see less of that kind of behavior. But I'll talk through this waiting screen anyway. Okay, so we talked about they're willing to try something new, but with Scoop they kind of went with a very normal voice actor. It's just a emphasis on certain lines, but a very general voice. They didn't try something crazy like a Scoopy muffled voice. That would be kind of weird and something new, but I think they got so much backlash from Penny's voice that they were kind of afraid to try something new. It adds a very personal touch. It's not just like when you're talking with the mods or interacting with anyone from Ronimo. It's not just a name, or it's not just like a overall force. It's like it's an actual person, and you know that. And you're actually interacting with a person, and it's the person that does the coding isn't just a random programmer. His name is Juiced, and he writes a blog post, and he does all kinds of interesting things. And so it really adds a kind of personal touch. Okay, these guys are actually buying upgrades, so yeah. Yeah, but it adds a very personal touch to interacting with them, and that's probably the biggest advantages of them being a small company, is they're willing to interact, and they're a lot better at interacting. And my next point is they're willing to accept feedback, and that's not something a lot of big companies are readily willing to do. Oh, hi there. Got a Ray. I think I should go into Turret Dirtball, even though I really want to go to Cat Dirtball. I really like Cat Dirtball, but it's not exactly the best build. But they're willing to accept feedback. They're willing to say, okay, we were wrong. And kind of a great example of that was with the AI station, as they were completely willing with saying, hey, we messed up. This map needs a fix. And they were willing to fix it and make a new map, which was cool. They're willing to say they were wrong. And the really cool thing is that a lot of community projects have happened because they're such a small company. Oh, I'm getting hurt for no particular reason. What builds are okay? Lots of piggy banks. A lot of things that just wouldn't happen in other companies. Like, how many other situations would you see, like, community-made bots getting added to the game? That's just, like, unheard of, I think, for other companies. Like, can you imagine if LoL were to say, okay, we're going to be adding some bots that some modders made to the game, and then they're going to be added to everyone. And that's kind of a crazy thing, and it never really would have happened. Swiggins was kind of a character, a community-created character. He never would have existed if it weren't for a couple of individuals. Like, one guy came up with the concept, I believe. Another guy came up with the voice acting, and it's really cool that these kind of community projects even happen. Like, it's just crazy to me, and it's cool, and it just wouldn't happen if they had a bigger budget or something or whatever. And so it's really nifty that this really just happened. Okay, just trying to. People have been complaining about my keyboard, so I need to try and lessen my strokes on my keyboard, so I'm not as noisy. But now for some. Oh, one other disadvantage is I was talking to Mike about this, and he was saying, like, you really feel like you have an impact as a individual person. Like, I helped the Vinny bot test his bot, and I feel like I actually contributed to something that's, you know, in the game. Like, it's kind of a cool thing that you can say, like, hey, I kind of helped with that, and made a suggestion that got taken by Ronimo, and they said, hey, that's a cool, okay idea, I'll do that. It's really cool to have that kind of an opportunity. It's really nifty. Like, how many people can say that? Like, it's not a common thing. But now to talk about some disadvantages. They have a very slow development cycle, and I'm not really faulting them for that. They can't really do that much because they are a small team. They can't just pump things out like other companies might. Oh, I cleared his Wheaties. I really ought to buy upgrades. But I'm too busy talking and fighting. But they have a very slow development cycle, and yeah, they keep us informed and stuff like that, but keep in mind, how long ago did Starstorm come out? And we're still getting slowly fed content from this Starstorm thing. Like, it's kind of great the way they've done it, is that they're slowly releasing things instead of waiting for the entire thing to come out and then releasing it then. Because I think that would be a huge mistake on their part, because I think the way they've done it is just brilliant in that they really raise hype for it every step of the way, which is really a great way to advertise. It's like saying, hey, look, we've added this character, we've added this character, and it's really cool the way that they've done it. But it also sort of prioritizes certain oh boy, certain parts of their development cycles. If you notice, skins take almost complete precedence. Like, those are the things that come out most often and most reliably is skins. And there's reason for that, is because that's what makes them money. They don't make money on selling the base game. They give it out for free most of the time. And so it's not really... Oh, wow, we lost our guy. Ow, ow, ow! Come on, come on. No, no, no! I can't jump fast enough. But it's kind of their most important thing is to sell skins, which is, it's how they survive. Like, people think, oh, they've got all this money from the Starstorm expansion, but you gotta think of it, like, they raised $400,000. That's, like, how many salaries is that? That would be 8 salaries at, say, $500,000 or $50,000. Like, that's not a lot, and I think Ronimo is bigger than that. I probably should have looked up the numbers. But they're not filthy rich like people think they are. Like, they have expenses and things they need to pay for. Ow, I'm gonna die from this again. Get me health. Yes, okay. That was a risky risk there, but I think it paid off there. But they've got to pay bills. Like, that's the thing that makes them money. so they got to do it. And I mean, I don't, not racking on, that's not even a phrase, ripping on them or anything, because that's what they need to do. That's how they make their money. That's how they survive as a company. So it's just kind of unfortunate that is how it is. I wanted, when I heard about the Starstorm expansion, I was most excited about the new map, because we've only had the same 4 maps for this whole time, and so I was kind of excited about getting a new map, but apparently that's the last thing on their dev list, is the new map. Careful, dude, careful. And so that made me sad, because I was really looking forward to the new map, and apparently it's like the last thing on their development cycle. Crap. Crapperdoodle. And so I was kind of sad about that. But it's just the way things work. Getting more characters out sooner means more skins, and getting more skins out means that, oh my gosh, that's gonna kill me. That's gonna kill me. Woo! Means they can get out more skins. More characters means more skins, which means more money for them, which means they continue to exist as a company. And that's kind of a big thing we don't realize, is that if they don't get money, they stop making this game. And the Kickstarter does not mean they have to make anything. Like, there's no contractual obligation for them to make things. Like, we gave money so that they would finish it, but that doesn't mean they have to finish anything. They can just wallow away with the money, but I hope they don't, because they seem like nice people. And yeah, I get really distracted by playing this game. Another problem is that they have no dedicated team to balance things. From my understanding is that they have the Beta-Nauts, and those guys are guys that go ahead and test this game and the new aspects of the game, make sure things work. They're sort of like the early access, because not just the people who have beta like me to the thing because of the but these are Beta-Nauts. These have existed long before Starstorm ever became a thing, and they have one guy that they talk to, and they talk to him once a week, and that's basically all of the community's interaction with Ronimo when it comes to balance, is that one weekly meeting, which is kind of crazy. They don't have people that they can dedicate to talking about balance. And so that's kind of why I think they're not the greatest at it, because they do it sort of on the side. Their job is not to balance the game per se, it's to make the game. They've got developers, they've got coders, things like that, but they don't have people that are just dedicated to balance, which could be a problem. But I mean, they're a small company, so they can't. I mean, they can't devote those kind of resources to doing those kind of things. Another thing is they can get really set in their ways. Like, I don't know if it was a pride thing on why it took so long for AI Station to get fixed. That I don't know. Like, maybe they're very fixed in their ways. They get this idea among themselves, because they're just such a small company that their focus group of themselves is very small, and so they can get really attached to sort of groupthink and those kind of ideas, where one person thinks it's a good idea, and so they all think it's a good idea, and it's very hard for them to dissuade themselves from thinking it's a good idea, and so not all the time things get changed, and when they kind of obviously need the change. But that's, again, just listing some problems. I'm not faulting them for it. I'm just stating them as fact. Not necessarily fact, but just my opinion. And so, yeah, they can somewhat feel isolated in that regards. They don't always listen. They don't. I don't know how quite I was meaning in saying this. They don't have a lot of capital to swing around. Those were my exact words. They don't have the money to make merchandise. LOL has tournament after tournament and like millions of dollars to be spent on this their game. Like it's kind of crazy. But Ronimo is kind of struggling to just make the game. I mean, they had to run a Kickstarter just so they could make the game and make the expansion they wanted. And so it's... Go ahead, hit me. I don't care. Oh, look, we got another achievement. And so they don't have a lot of money to swing around and to try things. Like, they don't have any money to do, like, community-funded tournaments or anything like that. They have to rely on community tournaments and things like that, and people being generous, and sometimes that doesn't always work. Like, there's not really that big of a competitive scene, and that's kind of because Ronimo is a small company. Yeah, but like right now, like the only way that they have of getting interest in this game is through finally is through the free weekends, like with messing up my videos right now. And by like releasing the patches on a regular regular period of getting patches released. Let's see if we level up again. We did! 22! We're so pro. So good. The best! But besides that, like the free weekends and then the patch notes, or patches coming out, they really don't have great ways of, like, promoting the game, and that's kind of a problem. And that's partially why the community is so small, is there's not really, like, a competitive scene for people to watch. Like LOL, there's a huge competitive scene. Dota, huge competitive scene. And all these different competitive scenes, but Awesomenauts really doesn't have one, and there's kind of problems to that. But anyway, this is today's episode. If you've got a topic for future discussion, I will most certainly hear you out and listen, potentially make it the topic. Anyway, see you next time.